So Joe, this is quite an anniversary. I don't know if you were checking, but this is the 10th official episode.
Wow, we've officially made it longer than most couples do in America. Well, the straight ones anyway. The gay ones make it forever.
Yeah, that's true. We have made it longer, and also maybe made it longer than many startup talk shows about Counter Strike. But
It's just sheer force of will and determination.
yeah,
And grit, you might say.
it's pretty crazy though. I remember just when we were planning it, I was just I didn't have a job. I was just at home playing Dark Souls, like talking to you and our graphics guy. I was like grinding for souls in the right outside of Nito's boss room, killing the baby skeletons. And now we got to record at 9 because I got to go to bed at 10:30 to wake up at 6. Times change, man.
You mean Nito, obviously the Norwegian CS player, right?
No.
Obviously.
Oh yeah. Well. Oh wait, we talked about this. He named him. I think he named himself after that boss.
That is a theory. Can I
Yeah.
fix my camera at all, by the way?
No,
Is
you
that-
you tried to bring it down and then it went back up.
Yeah, I. Mm. Oh.
That angle is what I call like
Oh.
killing myself angle. It's like
Now we're good.
my life really sucks. So I don't know if you can see. All right.
My life is spiraling downwards.
All right. Well,
I'm in a deep, dark abyss.
hello guys. If you enjoyed our three-minute introduction, this is episode 10 of Stich and Joe Talk CS Go. I am Stitch, and that is Joe Tolkien Fanatic. We still do not have a 3-person layout background, and we are still not being paid by gambling websites to talk about Counter-Strike. So that means we still keep it real.
Yeah.
So a lot of weird.
And this is water, by the way, sadly.
Mm-hmm. Mm. All right. So a lot of stuff has happened from both high to low. And so without further ado, we begin in the Americas. We have some North America, South America action today, a lot. Basically, the first thing, going chronologically from when we last... Actually, this isn't even chronological. Well, forget about it. The first thing that I noticed was that Selfless released Mitch. Now, Selfless are kind of like the forgotten team, right? When people talk about possible shuffles, no one's really thinking of them except for my boy, Breeze.
Well, yeah, no one's thinking about that, except in terms of people that are going to get poached from Selfless. Selfless had a really good season, I guess, 3 of ESL Premier. Not so hot season 4. They finished in that bottom 3 region, which we'll see them playing in relegation. And it is widely expected they will be losing your boy Breeze. And on top of that, they lost Mitch from the male team, and they released Ray Ray from the female team as well.
Yeah, I did add that in the notes that they released Ray Ray.
Parentheses.
Well, no, to be fair, I didn't know who that was.
Yeah, so this core of the female team has had like a solid 4.
It's the Karma 4.
It's the Karma 4. They've had the solid 4 for over a year, and they've rotated in a 5th for a while. So Ray Ray is the most recent iteration of trying to find someone to stick in there.
So
Mitch is surprising though. I would think I would have expected Caboose to find his way out of this roster before Mitch.
Well, it was mentioned that it was a mutual decision, whatever that means these days. It's like you get the email like you're out. It's like okay.
I agree. Well, I did see that Mitch within 24 hours of this announcement had re-added mainline on Steam, so it's possible there could be a reunion for those guys in the vault lineup. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, there could be. But yeah, I mean, these people, these Selfless guys, a lot of them kind of struggling to play a high level of CS. Had some early promise, got invited to some tournaments, but definitely that star has dimmed. And I would say more changes will follow in that lineup. So Mitch is first out. So let's talk ESEA Premier. For this, I need to actually bring up the article because there's quite a few things in there. We could talk Europe right now in this section as a sort of aside.
Go for it.
Oh, sexy typing noises. What the? I was about to say you typing up a storm, but
I got that sexy new mechanical keyboard, bro.
yeah, I noticed they stand out quite a bit when you have Yeti mics. Like when you're typing, it's like. So we already talked about teams that made it to MDO Global Challenge, but I mean, looking here. One second. Okay.
I mean, do you want to talk about EPL relegation at all? Because
I think we talked about it a bit. You could throw in a sentence, and then I'll just talk about the final standings, and that'll be it for now.
I mean, that can tie in nicely with the Selfless thing. So Selfless will be playing Luminosity for an EPL spot, and Splice will be playing the winner of TSM Rush for an EPL spot. And, talking of Splice, maybe we want to move up this other news item that we have here.
Yes, okay, yeah. Let's do a little bubble and insert that. Splice added Rix and Drone.
Yep.
One Meathead and one, what's it called? Cypher, I guess.
Surprising on the Rix front, although I do think that my suspicions were confirmed in some of the Peacemaker news as well. I do believe that Peacemaker and Rix were a package, and then when NRG decided to not go NA based, that thing went south. So a little bit interesting. Yeah, I mean, what do you make of it? Rix obviously has proven himself, at least in NA, to be a very solid entry fragger, a good player, despite a lot of people's reservations about him.
Well, the reservations come from the fact that he's not very smart. Like, you need to point him somewhere to get him to go off. He's like a frat bro, but in the server, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but how smart do you have to be an entry fragger?
Well, it helps. It certainly helps.
No, it certainly helps, but at a baseline level, your goal is to go in, just shoot whatever is in front of you.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't require a lot of tactical.
But it requires a lot of
excellence.
Intelligence is related to game sense. So like going through what side of the smoke, throwing, pop flashes, or like just mind gaming people. But no, okay, I'm sorry. I do think he can play at the high level, unlike some of the Selfless players, for example. So I'm not saying he shouldn't be there.
I think he's a very good player. I think Drone is surprising. I had seen Drone be added by some of the Splice players like 3 weeks ago, and I didn't know if it was a rank S ad or a potential move ad. As we know now, it isn't. He's obviously on the roster. I tweeted about this. It seems like Splice are, they went pull in the international star route, and that was an abject failure for them. So now they're going the route of the Cloud9 CLG, and trying to pull in the unproven premier players.
Yeah.
And obviously they're going to hope that pays off more for them. I mean, what do you think about Drone?
It's also known as the update HLTV's win out LAN picture route. You just get people who last played at win out LAN, and or not last played, but like their only last time they played where we got pictures of win out LAN, and eventually we'll get those pictures updated.
Oh, so you mean like a CS:GO lounge, all those players basically?
Yeah.
Your favorite polls?
Yeah. Oh my god, I need to talk about them some more, but there's no news item for them, is there?
I think it's a weird move considering that Drone is basically considered a primary offer and you already have Crucial there. So I'm not sure.
I don't know much about Drone. Me and the semi-top, as Swedes say, scene of NA, it's not my area of expertise. I've seen the name float around a lot, and I've seen it suggested he is one of those who deserves to hit this higher level. So I'm not a surprise. That he's on Splice, for sure, it's a surprise, but not a surprise that he's going to play Pro League, for example.
Yeah, no, it's surprising.
They play relegation, right? Yeah.
I mean, he's someone that cropped up on the radar of CLG when Garrett was there, but he sat out this entire last season of Premier, so it's potentially even more befuddling
Yeah.
in that way. He's more or less been inactive from the semi to professional scene this entire last season. So, I mean, it's a gamble. It's gonna go one way or another for him.
If I may, I have one more suggestion for Splice. Asilian, as you know,
Disband.
Asilian, as you know, got his driver's license, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Bricks is a strong guy. I suggest they forcefully.
This is gonna be bad.
No, they forcefully grab Arya, jam him in a car. Asilian will drive him out to the fucking like what's the lowest point in the U.S.?
Death Valley.
Death Valley. Leave him there and then drive back.
Oh, I thought you were gonna suggest that like a drone shoots him in the face with a sniper rifle or something.
No,
because
that wouldn't be creative.
that would be edgy as fuck.
That wouldn't be creative. That'd just be like a teenage joke with violence. No. I mean, yeah.
Even edgier would be they bring back Abe, who's one of their ex-players who is just out in the wilderness now. Or, like he doesn't even.
Someone's looking for esports jobs. Please contact me.
He doesn't even have the dignity of making it onto Reddit like Jason R does. Abe is just essentially a persona non grata,
Well,
but they should get him to murder Arya out in Death Valley. Oh boy! Now that we're wanted by the FBI, let's continue.
Arya's just standing out in the valley, and he hears that fucking like gazelle noise that Abe makes. Like, he's just running at him with his spear. Yeah. Well, okay. Anyways, yeah. So that's that. That's Splice.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
We need to dedicate more time to the Peacemaker kerfluffle because
we will shortly.
Wow.
Yeah, we will shortly. Just wanting to say that there's someone rummaging behind me, isn't there? I hear it. No? Okay, fine.
I don't know.
I hear like a door opening or whatever.
I don't know if you've had that HTRF update on your. I can't really tell.
On my headphones.
Yeah.
Well, okay, fine. So, in NA, the only thing I wanted to say was Quetzal, the Mexican team, finished 5th through 8th. Always almost there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
About to have their break, but didn't. And then in EU, there's of course the hilarious Godsent. Yeah, I mean that team. It's probably close to over there.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. But
should we save that for EU or?
Save it for EU.
Yeah.
But all I want to say is God Monet. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what it is.
Anyways, prayer books aside, the summit. It's not the terrible streamer who I recently actually unfollowed, but it's a tournament organizer. I don't really know much about it because I don't watch other games competitively, except like the international. So I don't know. I've heard good things. I heard it's like a Acer Predator Masters.
Yeah, it's like a.
Well, anyways, 100K.
Yeah, 100K. I like you don't watch little fairy games like Dota and League and Overwatch, but no, it's supposed to be a chill, relaxed Take TV sort of a stream. In fact, I think Take TV is Summit was inspired by Home Story Cup, which was Take TV, but yeah, it should be good. It's been rumored for a while that these guys were going to do a CS event, so. And they already signed up SK, which isn't that much of a feat considering that SK probably lives like 5 miles away from where they're holding this event. So, but still kind of exciting. I think it's going to be 8 teams. There's some qualifiers coming yet to be announced. We'll see what happens. But it's cool. It's always cool to see like experienced high caliber production from other games coming in to CS because we have plenty of shit events, mostly all sponsored by Penguin and their various subsidiaries, but it would be good to see some more high quality events happen.
Yeah,
as opposed to the 50 gauntlet fight for the crown matches a week, what I mean?
Well, thankfully a lot of those went the way of the dodo once the CS:GO Lounge fell apart. But I mean, they still have.
They're back now in a big way. Quick Shot's back. Gauntlet is a whole new thing. They've run 50 different
What?
show matches.
Oh no! You know what
Yeah.
that means? Fucking Matt David of RGN is coming back.
No, dude, I told you he's like officially dead. He's managing some main team now. His cure is over.
Okay.
He's doing worse than our boy Jeremy 9000. You know.
Dude, yeah, I mean, some people just got left out in the cold lately. All right.
At least Jeremy 9000 is managing, E United, the greatest team ever.
Also known as the farm team for the greatest team ever, Muffin Lightning. Anyways, yeah, so it will be nice to see the professional quality. Like you said though, SK live right there. It's kind of like when Esports Arena tried to host all these like 25K tournaments that never came through, and all their invites were just teams that lived in the area. And yeah, it was like,
Yeah, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
No.
if they get like SK, C9, CLG to this tournament, that'll be okay. That'll be worth tuning into.
The
when
beanie's
we're
coming
gonna-
off. It's making me uncomfortable, by the way.
It's been making me uncomfortable the entire time. Didn't
Yeah,
care.
I know your thoughts on beanies, you fucking 19. All right, whatever. I'm not even gonna say it. So next up, I'm not like a Peter guy, or like a striker guy where I really care. Like I'm not. No. Sorry, I'm not insulting them, but I just don't care much for formats. It's never excited me. I usually kind of skim read formats, but the E-League Major will have the Swiss format. I know what the Swiss format is. I think it's a good thing, but I just didn't. It was long overdue, and I was like, oh, okay, they have it. Okay, great. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good. I've seen some people being concerned about it in light of how the Swiss was handled at ESL1 New York, which we attended. If you recall, there was a situation which required Liquid and Fnatic playing twice in the Swiss, which is not how a Swiss is supposed to be handled. And I just want to point out to people that's a consequence of doing a Swiss with too few participants, not a fault of the format. So with a 16-team format, it's very unlikely that you get into one of those situations. So I think it's a good format. And yeah, I've seen some people say that they would want to see the full Swiss played out for seeding at the major. I just don't think that's feasible considering that there are teams that know they're going to be eliminated after their third loss, so they're not really going to give a shit. So
Yeah.
I don't see a feasible way to do that.
At least we will have no more. What's it called? Cloud9 losing in 2 maps, crying, and like at all the majors, like Cologne 2015, or teams like that, where they come in and everyone's so sad because they just lost 2 best of ones. Sorry, if you want to know why I paused, I was looking at upcoming events. Did the China Cup that was CSL, did it get renamed to China Top?
No, China Cup and China Top are 2 separate things.
Why did we take China Cup off the upcoming events?
China Cup got moved to January.
Oh. Okay. Well, we'll talk about that in Asia. So next up, this is the South America, which I promised. Basically, they were playing in WCA 2016. If anyone was staying up for those streams, which looked like it looked like that tournament also had issues, but G3X got dropped. What are the deets on that?
As I understand it, it's to do with the South American union, essentially the ABCDFE, whatever the fuck it is. It's something like that. But basically, this organization didn't want any of their teams participating in the WCA qualifier to begin with, and Gex, along with CNB, I think, participated under different names. So the orgs essentially were forced to drop their players in lieu of that.
Well,
which
that's
is
pretty shady.
which
Spooky.
is pretty fucking dumb. That's shady spooky as hell, dude. But I mean, as it turned out, Gex, did not fare very well at this tournament anyway. So
No, neither. There's a history now that we're seeing emerge of subtop. I love this word. I love it. Subtop, or is it semi-top? Well, whatever. Subtop European teams doing well in China, and Brazilian teams not doing well.
Yep. Well, Payne did okay. Not great,
Right.
but
That's
okay.
right. Yeah. But what about the Brazilian team that? Oh wait, they didn't go to our favorite, the IESF or ICE. What was it called again? I already forget. I'm going.
No, our favorite event is the Scrotac World Cup,
No,
obviously.
no, but not that. The one in Jakarta.
Yeah, that was IESF,
Yeah.
and it was it was the team that became Red Cannons that didn't go.
Yeah. Well, anyways, so yeah, G2X got dropped. They didn't do so hot at WCA 5th through 6th, and I remember the scores being, they got blown out a lot. I think. We can talk about it. So the final thing, and I guess we're saving the best for last, is the Peacemaker situation. I do feel like you have something you want to say right off the bat, so I'll give you the floor.
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? How do you bring in a guy like that? The thing that really got me in the mutual agreement between the announcements, right, was the difference of visions. How do you fucking hire someone who's supposed to be like guiding your organization for the foreseeable future, and you haven't figured out what the fuck his vision is? It just blows my fucking mind.
Wait, you saw my opinion in my tweet to you.
No, but that's the sad reality, right? Your opinion was paraphrasing. It was like, LOL, like expecting professionalism from esports organizations. That's the fucking problem right there. Like, no other job in the world are just gonna be like, hey, you want this job? Yes, I do. Great, take it. They're like, there has to be some mutual understanding of expectations from both sides. So it's just astonishing that they didn't even cover the very basics of, hey, do you want to like keep the core of our team, or do you want to have an entirely like North American based team? Like, the fact that not even that was agreed upon before they signed whatever they signed is flabbergasting.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that time where you sleep with a girl and then you somehow you blurt out that you love her, but then you have to sort of explain that is not what you meant at all, and roll back the situation to the days of being free.
Yeah, I love having sex with you, but I don't love
I like the esports money, but
yeah. Ugh.
Well, anyways,
Yikes.
so yeah, Peacemaker again on the loose. Expect a Peacemaker Mitch mainline lineup in the near future, in the nearest theater coming.
Peacemaker to slice, Plice, whatever the fuck. Peacemaker to slice with his boy Rix. Just calling it. We'll see.
It's possible. All right, so over in Europe, right when we finished recording episode 9, the FNX Fadoodle, and some people thought it was about Skadoodle, but it's just an archaic word that means like blunder. Yeah.
Nothing to do with Skadoodle at all.
No, but it was amazingly apt. Rather in the sense of like sounding like his name. And anyways, so right when we finished, there was a little bit of news coming out of Finland. Twista decided, being in the server was not for him, or I guess the coach is still in the server. But yeah, I went to the coaching role and they brought in Zen.
Former cringe god.
Yeah, former cringe god. That's right. And that was one of those teams that high hopes and then cry forever. But yeah, I was a fan back during their minor days.
Well, I wouldn't say cry forever. Two of those guys are still in Epsilon, doing quite well.
Yeah, as we will soon see. And in fact, 3 of them were in China.
There you go.
Yeah, if we count them. So yeah, when this change happened. Do you know did you see on Twista's Twitter if he actually went with them to China?
Yep, I mean Twista is the coach, so I
But
assume he
coaches
was there
don't
in
go
China.
all the time.
Threat's pretty much the only coach that doesn't travel,
Well,
as far as I'm aware.
Well, Cuban didn't go that one time because of his kid.
Yeah, well, he's like 50. That's,
No, he's not. He's like 28.
He's an old 28.
Yeah, he is an old 28. Agreed. Yeah, but so iGame finished third. They actually did quite well. I think they just couldn't stand up to what was it? To VG, right? In the semi, or was it to Tyloo? No, it was to Tyloo.
No, they lost to Tyloo and beat VG, right?
No. iGame, they lost to VG and they beat Tyloo for third place.
Oh, yes, right. That was what I wanted to say. Yeah. Oh, yet again, VG fails to get first in a tournament, even when Tyloo is eliminated for them.
Yeah, and we have we have set up a specific topic actually to talk about the really troubling situation going on in Chinese Counter-Strike right now, compared to all the hype of just a few months ago. So yeah, that happened. So yeah, let's keep your eyes posted on igame.com. They're another promising sub-top team. You can have a little counter going, like how many times will Stich say sub-top?
Yeah. Well, I mean, iGame are interesting. They're another team that, along with Team Spirit in the summer, had a very strong streak of online performances going. And iGame, more interestingly, had always struggled under like the Arctic banner. They had never really achieved what people thought they could. And then kind of when they went solo as LGR, they really started, for whatever reason, upping their results, and then got signed by iGame, and they've been continuing their good form. So, and I mean, now with bringing in Zen, the youngster, should be good for them, I think, long term. I mean, and Twista is an old school name. He's been around since 1.6, so he's not a spring chicken. So totally makes sense in my eyes.
Oh, so yeah, so it's a plug and play kind of this change where everything works rather than being messy.
So changing of the guard.
Exactly.
It's just natural.
So over in a scene in Europe, where one of my least knowledgeable scenes, or one that always confuses me, the French scene. So Vexed, I'm pretty sure, didn't that organization blow up through gambling money related activities, like when that went dry? Well, apparently they're back. They signed Platinum, who, if you recall, they had a really surprising top 4 finish at ESWC. So yeah, they signed, these are names people watching might not know. Amanek Devoduvic, who has that's a Serbian last name.
He has a Serbian name, yeah.
Then Ali Haji. I couldn't resist. That's a good name, though. It's very ironic. Like, he's being ironic, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, because isn't that like a slur of like American Marines or something?
Haji?
Calling them Hajis? Calling people combatants in the Middle East? No? Okay, whatever.
I don't think so.
Or maybe it's a reference to the Hajj.
Well, the Hajj is a completely separate thing. Don't worry about it.
That's my Stitch face right there. And then Jarod and Rumbang. So
Rumbang, formerly known as Skara, which is a much better name.
Yes, it is. So this is a Belgian player. And then they have NPK as a coach.
Who is Rumbang's brother.
Oh, yeah. I see that. Wait, they have a 21-year-old as their coach, and Jarod is 30.
Jarod is like 30. Yeah, he's an old-ass dude.
Oh, dude, it's this guy. Yeah, this is the dad player.
Yeah, he is a dad.
Wait. Time. I wasn't going to, but we're gonna have to do a little bit of.
We're gonna have to do some digging.
No, just to show. Yeah. So there you go. You got your dad player. Okay. I just did the little technical wizardry bit. Yeah. So. Anything? Do you think they'll ever reach something like a top 4 finish at a notably covered tournament again?
No.
Okay, thank you. Moving on. Fox to play for SK at Yale Major.
Giant mistake. Next.
Okay, moving on. Minet joins Rogue as coach. Yeah,
All
I
right,
don't know.
no,
I don't know if you
mean,
guys were paying attention about Fox and the server this weekend at ECS, but yeah, not too hot.
I mean, previously on the last episode, I specifically said I don't expect this to be a long-term move for them. But I mean, we know that they at least plan to play with Fox at the major, which uh, makes no sense to me, frankly. But
Yeah, I mean, you got to keep all the Joaos in the world happy.
I
Portugal
mean,
caught up. Like, they're not gonna drink wine and pray to Jesus anymore. They need something to look up to.
they took out a Dignitas with like a theoretically much more efficient and better stand-in, right?
UK, you're gonna die thinking about Fox.
I am. Like, oh my god, it's so bad. Thinking about all those Glocks that are getting dropped. No, but Dignitas slotted in Valde for Magis boy, which everyone can agree is a more one-to-one replacement, right? And then here you have SK replacing FNX, a entry hardcore rifling player with Fox, known for his opping, not so much his rifling, and so much so that they're pushing off Cold, one of the best players in the world, off of the secondary op role. It just does not make sense to me at all.
Yeah.
It obviously worked out for them to some degree.
Third, fourth, yeah, in a pretty sick tournament.
Will they be able to win the major with it? I don't think so. I mean, they have some time to work on it, but
yeah.
It's a month away.
The strange gravitational pull that keeps bringing in these X-Phase players into luminous spots. I mean, it was so strong that it brought Keo back from the grave to play again for the same team. So, who knows?
Yeah, but he's been doing well.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, we can talk about that. So, yeah, as I quickly mentioned before we went back on our moving on, Minette, Okay, wait, I just want to say one thing. I think we've talked about this. That every time his name comes up, all the Eastern Europeans are like, haha, Minette, haha. Because Mineta in Polish and also in Russian is like...
Oh, it's like blowjob, right? Or something?
It's cunnilingus, basically. Pussy eating. So they're like, Minette. You can even just click on his player picture right now, and someone wrote, cunnilingus with a K, Russian flag. Yeah, so yeah, he joins Rogue as a coach. That's a very strange team.
Yep.
So I didn't follow the games they played lately, but someone tweeted, I saw like Drawlon or something tweet, that they're a very odd team, but it works. Did they win something?
Well, they qualified for the DreamHack Las Vegas close qualifier.
See,
if you want to talk about that.
I did not look at that, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of the familiar faces that you would expect came through this. The one surprise, or the interesting facets would be, we had two German mixed teams going on here. One was Gamer Club Germany, which was basically Tassen and some German rejects plus Solik, the Swiss player, that other Swiss player whose name is not Maniac.
Yeah.
And then we had which was Gabi, Legia, Tabson, so the NRG boys, with Nex, Stefan, and Kakafu, our boy,
right.
coaching. So, and they actually qualified for the close qualifier. So they're the only mixed team to have made it through, and the invites have not yet been revealed.
Well, nice.
But
thank you for summarizing the part I didn't do my homework for. But so, anyways, back to Minette. Yeah, he returned. He had his return to the dirty CS:GO money in 2015, and then he was part of what I still believe is the most hilarious thing that happened in CS:GO. It's so undervalued, that MTW announcement. You cannot fuck up.
Whoa! It's not an announcement. It was 5 announcements.
Listen,
Don't get it twisted.
You could take a bunch of Xanax and drive a semi through a crowded shopping mall and kill 30 people, and you would not have fucked up as badly as this MTW thing fucked up. Just saying. Anyways, do you think he can coach? Do you think he can bring some oomph to Rogue? Do you think he can get those wily Bulgarians under control?
Well, I think he has a lot of experience in the CS:GO coaching arena, specifically coaching his brother on a tier 1 million Danish team. So, I think it's gonna be good.
Okay, well, we'll see. But yeah, I've never heard of his coaching chops. I mean, he was part of a legendary 1.6 lineup that, top 5 of all time. But,
Yeah.
Trace was also on that lineup. I haven't seen that motherfucker anywhere. Or no, was he not?
Motherfucker hasn't been anywhere since early CS:GO Fnatic.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Back when Freeze was good. So it's been a while.
Yeah. Remember last episode when we switched to the CIS region, I said the winter continues?
Sure.
It continues. They're still drinking, not playing CS. We have no news from CIS. And so...
Well, 5 frags imploded. That's a thing that happened.
Oh, it did? I didn't see that. Even on Liquid CS transfers. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah.
It's there.
You're right.
Yeah. Elian, this Russian youngster, left Enzo to join 5 frags, and not even a week later, left to go back to Enzo, and the entire 5 frags lineup imploded.
Okay, so if you guys don't remember, 5 frags were this strange Russian team who attended, I think that first they attended IESF. Yes?
Yeah.
And then they attended WCA blah blah. No, they didn't attend.
No, you're thinking of WESG. That was iSports. I do the same thing all the time.
Okay. Some people would be like,
no, they were at the WCA
China,
Russia,
UK gangbang. Yeah.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Still,
that was the event where Lamp was playing for 2 Russian teams because Russia only had 14 players. So
I don't understand why people are depressed. I mean, this is the funniest year on record, I think, even if you don't follow Counter-Strike.
This is a great year for me.
A meme became president, and a great president at that. So fucking edgy, bro. So, Flare. I just noticed that when we were talking about Enzo, it looks like they died too, because or did they just lose 2 players?
They lost Flarich and NSW.
NSW, yeah, Ukrainian and a Latvian. Never heard of these guys. I mean, I assume most people haven't. But yeah, they lost 2 players. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for when they join SK next week.
SK Academy.
Yeah. So yeah, which reminds me, okay, I'm glad I was looking at upcoming events. We need to talk about China Top. I never heard of it. It was never mentioned on HLTV. So get there very shortly. So yeah, quick little topic for Asia. China CS. Is this a low point? I mean, Korea CS is in a low point. Japan CS blew the fuck up.
Japan CS doesn't even exist anymore.
So. By the way, guys, before we talk about China CS, another Japanese team disbanded. Detonator.
Yep.
Yesterday. It's over. It's fucking over. You're not allowed to play video games in Japan anymore.
And I just want to point out that my prediction about JYP was correct. They did not make it out of the groups. So
you were right, actually. I was about to. Okay. So basically, yeah, I don't see an easy road to top 10 for Tyloo. Certainly not for VG.
Yeah, I mean, if Tyloo can't do it, VG won't be able to do it in their current states. That's just seems very self-evident. Certainly, if Tyloo can't beat Epsilon or iGame, they're in a bad place.
Yeah, that is a really bad place considering they were beating, they were showing up and beating
SK.
I don't know the names. Yeah. SK.
They beat SK. They beat. Didn't they beat Liquid as well? I mean, they beat.
I think so. They were already in free fall at IEM Oakland, though. I mean, they barely even made it there.
Yeah, well, IEM Oakland is certainly them on their downslope, which we're seeing. The continuance of here.
Yeah. So, are we gonna say something else about Tyloo?
I wasn't gonna say anything about Tyloo. I was gonna say that the real or the real story from my perspective that's going to go under the radar is how good Immunity actually looked. Immunity, I mean, yeah, they finished 4th in their group, but they're a roster that literally just came together with, adding in 2 new players. And they managed to draw, they played a close game against Tyloo, and they drew against Edward Gaming and VG and someone else. Oh, and Gex, right? So,
yeah. So for people who don't know, this is the Australian, New Zealander, Mongolian team. Obviously, Urkas, though, being like a Mongolian living in Australia. With also Moise, one of my favorite Twitter personalities to follow.
AUMO.
Yeah, AUMO. So yeah, I didn't really see. I didn't see, I saw the results, but I didn't see the map scores, so I didn't see that Tyloo close game. So, final thing for Asia, we could talk about how JYP struggled to get out of groups, but actually 2 things for Asia. Sorry. First of all, what is China Top?
China Top is a tiny 4-team tournament, but with 150 grand on offer. The organizers originally invited SK and VP, although it's been intimated to me that potentially those offers were never actually extended directly to the teams and they were just made online. And now they're going to be replaced with Fnatic Academy and someone else. I don't even fucking remember.
It's Fnatic Academy, and then it's VG, MVP Project, the Korean team with our boy Timon yeah. And Pumbaa.
Right.
And 5, the Chinese team with Dreer.
Right, Dreer. Yeah.
Dreer.
Yeah. So I honestly think this tournament actually got more exciting because I think the way that it was originally is just going to be SKVP Stomp. Now it'll be interesting to see how Fnatic Academy stack up to these Asian teams.
Listen, Joe, you and I have now become experts of these Chinese tournaments. We have a perfect formula here. I'll tell you now, Fnatic Academy will win.
The Swedes win. They win.
The sub-top team wins. VG doesn't have Tyloo. They're gonna flop. They're gonna finish 3rd or 4th.
Seppuku.
First of all, 5 will finish 2nd because that always happens. The underrated Chinese team does well. And MVP Project will finish 4th because
5 will finish last. 5 will finish 3-4.
Timon, the MVP Project will finish 4th because Timon will sit down and be like,
Nanda kore?
He'll be like, what the fuck is a mouse? They'll just have brought in some guy from the street. All right. That was my little...
one last thing on JYP, though. They didn't do poorly. They finished 2-1-1. They had a win. But they tied Epsilon, which really kept them in the running in the group, right? And if they could have done the same against iGame, they would have been through, I believe, instead of Epsilon. So...
Yeah, no, I know, but still, for some reason, something I don't know, just something, they're lacking something. And actually, maybe we should, were you going to say something?
I was going to say they actually had a 1-round deficit to Epsilon, so they still would have lost, been out. But
yeah, I remember looking at those groups. Well, in general, we can talk about WCA in the section, but it had a lot of old formats that aren't popular anymore in Europe and Americas. The BO5 Grand Final, the 3rd place decider, point
the
system.
round robin group stage.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it all.
My work phone is telling me time for bed. It sent me a little message.
Hey.
But we still have so much juicy stuff to talk about.
We do.
That's how you know you're a thug, when you got 2 phones.
I got 2.
Yeah,
phones.
I actually feel like Kevin Gates now.
Yeah,
so,
you snapped me that yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Makes it a lot less cool.
Oh right. All right. Anyways, actually, so many things are coming to my head when it comes to Asian CS. First of all, we talked about China Top, 145K tournament. Wow, big money. Guess what, guys? WCA was 195K, and nobody's gonna see a fucking penny of that money. Not even Epsilon.
Yeah, most likely.
Because isn't it true that they haven't paid teams for their Dota tournaments, and they didn't even pay teams for the qualifiers yet?
I don't know about the qualifiers, but I do know there were some issues with previous iterations of the tournament.
WCA, yeah. And this was the one that had the APAC qualifier in like March, right? Where they had the crazy shitty monitors or something. Or are the Chinese tournaments getting to me, man? Are there just too many?
Yeah, no, it was this, and I actually made this point, is that I talk with AU Mo sometimes, and I thought it was just hilarious that when he was originally back on the last immunity team, he expressly did not want to go to China to play the APAC qualifier, but then he did, and then they won, and then he got kicked, and then the entire immunity team went dormant. Half of it got bought out by Winter Fox.
Yeah.
Then Immunity acquired an entirely new team.
Tell me more, baby.
That they snaked this spot from Winter Fox for, and then they brought in Moe, and 8 months later, Moe finds himself back in China playing WCA.
Guys, really, I encourage any new viewers to get your feet in these low tier stories, because there's some amazing shit going on here. Just follow patterns of history. You'll be amazed. It'll make life worth living, honestly, when just the crazy Chinese tournaments. So I'm actually, the thought came into my head when we were talking that I'm kind of worried about hashtag Asia to CSGO now. Both considering what's happening in Japan, Tyloo's fall off. I retweeted a tweet during the show from some Japanese guy who said there are no CSGO tournaments, and I kind of worry that might happen for the rest of Asia, and Korea will be next to fall, and that could, if CSGO doesn't live in Asia, it's kind of like when the subprime mortgage thing happened and precipitated the rest of the recession in 2008. Like, you think it's not needed, but I think if it can't keep expanding globally, then it might seriously damage the structure of the rest of the game. That's just my theory. All right, we've been on the Global Scoop for a while, so let's conclude.
You don't want to know what I think about that.
Yeah, is it the same or is it more positive?
No, I have slightly more positive. I mean, Japan was never a force.
No, I know it wasn't.
Ever. So I'm not so concerned about their only 3 teams dissolving into 0 teams.
That's not what I meant.
But I think there's so much money coming out of China that I think that will sustain that scene for a while. As long as those teams can perform reasonably well against European powers, I think that scene will be okay.
Okay. Well, certainly there's a lot of money coming out of China in general, and a lot of it's getting wasted like crazy amounts. I mean, think about all the Chinese tourists in Europe. I even know this Chinese girl who's she was actually in a Twitter picture of mine a long time ago. Some people might remember. It was like me with 2 girls. But, dude, this girl, one of her parents is a Chinese, I think it's her dad, is like a Chinese millionaire. I'm sorry to go tangent mode, but you want that kind of life where you're like living in the U.S. studying, and then you go to China to quote unquote work in government, and then she was in Australia studying, and now she's in Malaysia to heal at a resort.
A.k.a. fucking dudes.
But that's what money will do for you. You can just travel around the world like that. Or you can be an esports player and travel around the world and never leave your hotel.
Or when you do leave your hotel, you just trash wherever you were and not feel bad about it, apparently. So.
What, is this a reference to something?
Nah.
Oh. I bet it is. All right. All right. Okay. So you'll have to tell me later. So finally in Oceania, unless I missed some low-level player changes, which I don't see on Wikipedia. Or actually, no, we had these Australians form a team called Bullet Club. We can talk about that in Who, maybe. But Trident won CGPL Season 9, which is a long-running... It's like the staple of Australia. Like, before ESL had their hands on the door, there was Trident. So where were Atletico? I didn't really read up on it.
Atletico and Immunity both did not participate in this league, so it kind of, cast a shadow on the results, when you have 2 of the top teams not participating.
Is Trident, would you say Trident is the 3rd best team in Australia now, or Australia, New Zealand? No?
Nah.
So who failed to win here?
I mean, I think early on in the season, Plus V looked like they would have been good, but they had a lot of players get picked up. Moe was on that team originally, he got picked up by Immunity. Plus V was like this. Plus V is essentially a pub team created by Sniper of just old dudes that didn't want to. It's like the equivalent of Anonymous 5 in North America if Anonymous 5 ever did anything semi, like, relevant.
Right.
It's just a bunch of old names just fucking around and wrecking all the new guys and just destroying any chance of them to move forward in their career. So, kind of fucked up, but
sounds like the UK
whatever.
scene. All the old guys just destroy any chances of the new guys to advance. That's the UK scene in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little interesting in that Plus V lineup has basically been picked up by Atletico, and the old Atletico lineup has moved on to another organization, but there's been no official announcements one way or another. So.
Oh, is that the case? So they won't be Atletico anymore?
Yeah. But as like with 99% certainty, the next time you see the old Atletico lineup, they will not be playing as Atletico.
Got it. Do you think it'll be a big org?
No.
Oh, okay. What the hell? They're so good. I thought they were like the next team to get fished out of, Oceania.
Yeah, but we already have 2 teams that got fished out of Oceania, and look how good that's doing.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so I was just looking at some of these players. I just thought it was funny that, for example, Trident have a Mitch with a 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's also M Swag on Grinny Bankers. Just a swag fan apparently. Just had to put the M in there to stand out.
Well, just like M1, it's like a concatenation of swags nicks, M1 plus swag.
Oh, so he's a really big fanboy.
Probably.
All right. Also, our final thing, One Stop has 2 weeaboos because there's Mizu, which means water, and then there's Kyoto. So, weeaboo alert. All right. Anyways, time to get out of the global scoop. This was a great one, actually. I enjoyed it. I hope you did as well, Joe.
I enjoy
talking
all
about
time
shit.
I spend with you.
Okay, that's good. So I actually put down separate notes this time on 2 things I noticed right away, not from your Twitter, but from Liquipedia, that I thought you could elucidate for me. First of all, there's No Problem, which is a long-running Danish name. Certainly not on anybody's radar lately, but looks like they got dropped or they left No Problem and they became Animals and they added Funds. So what's that about?
Yeah, well, this is one of my giant pet peeves, which is when one player has multiple orgless names that they switch between. No Problem is not an org, it's just a name that Barry is often brings in a bunch of Danish shitters with him around, and for whatever reason they decided that no, we're gonna drop one player and bring in another one, and now we're not gonna be No Problem, we're gonna be this other Danish shitter team name. So but they kind of had a fluid 5th situation. They brought in Funts, who had most recently played in Cursive, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
Which was the very underperforming team of Mupsg and Devlet Snitzel and some newer Danish names, but don't expect to see much from them.
Okay, all right, but they do have Rawls, who's a player he's hopped around a shit ton of Danish teams. Look at his lineup list here, going back till 2012. He was on the illustrious other mixed name Poppers, then Zapso and Faculty, Unu Ain, 3D Max, ESC, No Problem. So
yeah, well, I mean, he's been inactive for at least a year, possibly even 2. So he's Rawls to try and make a comeback. And then you have Rixo in there as well, who is a former Alpha Gaming guy. He got ousted in their recent roster rehaul when they brought in NATO Sapphics and Cyclone. So
I hope you got that laugh when you said NATO Sapphics.
I did.
Yeah. So, actually, before we go on to this German super low tier change, you guys, alert! This is the Stich Joe Talk CS exclusive. Jay, this Canadian player, he's being pinned up, right, as a possible new hot talent, right?
Is he?
Is he? Isn't he one of the players that someone, when nothing was asking around for top players? Or am I confusing him with someone?
I think you must be confusing with someone because Jay's been around. Jay was on that VVV lineup with No One and Funshine. Are you thinking of Takaru?
Yes, I am.
Idiot.
Idiot. Yeah, he's been around. My bad, guys. I'm wrong.
Yep.
Yeah, he's been playing since season 13 in CSGO.
Yep. I thought you were going to talk about Carnese since we were talking about Denmark, but
No,
nope.
I'm not.
Missed opportunity.
Where? I don't even see a Carnese. Oh, yes. That will be in Shady Spooky. All right, so never mind. Alert avoided. So Panthers Gaming basically, I don't know. I mean, if Germany is tier 3,
Germany is in a state of ginormous flux right now.
They lost 3 players. Here you guys have their names: Impy, Marcy, Zapper. And that is not the 3 people who you met at the gay club in Berlin who were trying to solicit offers from you. It's 3 Counter-Strike players.
Could be, though. You don't know.
That was pretty
mutually exclusive.
That was pretty heteronormative of me to just call it the gay club in Berlin. As if there's one. Because I used
probably like 2 max, you know.
No, there's... Well, I don't know. I wouldn't know. Although I did go to...
You probably know.
Nice try. Nice try.
Got 'em.
All right. So, yeah, let's go to your Twitter then, because... Let's see. Can I get some other spice out of here? There's something that happened in Slovakia.
Twitter situation. Oh, RDO moving from Asuba to Inside Games. Yeah, not that important.
Yeah. Let's see. Now, let's see. Here. Okay. Remember how Who is kind of also just an analysis of your Twitter these days? Why did you say in what universe is Hotted a professional gamer? What happened?
Oh, you haven't seen? There's the new Corsair commercials. They have like professional gamers, like just as like they have like screenshot of keyboard and then like professional gamer, and so it's like Raynad, and it's like okay, like he plays Hearthstone, he owns an organization, he's legitimate, and then it's like I don't know, some Dota guy, and I'm like, well, Dota's a game for losers, but I mean they can make a lot of money, so cool. And it's like Hotted professional gamer, and I'm like, this motherfucker, no, just no.
Professionally running gambling rings without getting implicated.
No
in it, maybe.
Fucking way. Just get the fuck out of my face with that shit. Like, I don't care if you professionally stream. It doesn't make you a professional gamer. Fuck off.
Yeah. So next thing is, not many people might have noticed this, but the E-League Major Qualifier already has a victim. As usual for major qualifiers in the States, there's always a victim from the motherland.
There is always a Russian who cannot make it.
So this time,
although in this case, a Ukrainian. Yeah.
Yeah, a Ukrainian got wrecked. Apparently knowing the State Department, apparently they deduced he's from Eastern Ukraine and not Western Ukraine.
I mean, Ukraine is just Ukraine to me. What's the difference?
There's just a lot of people from, there's the whole, like, the West sponsors. The West is sponsored by, oh my god, I'm getting Steam messages. Hold up. I don't want. Alright.
Oh my god.
That NATO sponsors the West and Russia sponsors the East. There's a lot of acrimony there. It was just a joke, though. Although, knowing life, a fucking Ukrainian's gonna run up on me with, like, a revolver next week.
R.I.P.
Adios, Stich. But yeah, so
Serakana.
I don't know if you saw, but Arch was pretty mad about it. He was like, "Tell Valve to fucking host a major in Europe, please. This is bullshit."
How about we just tell Valve to give a fuck about any major they host anywhere? It doesn't really matter where they fucking host it.
Yeah, true.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah. All right,
I'll calm March down. Don't worry, my boy.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's our boy. Yeah, he's definitely a boy of the show. Reddit CS:GO deleting...
R.I.P. Optic. Fuck.
They lost?
Yeah.
Astralis won.
Yep.
Oh, we could talk about that. All right, that's coming up. Reddit CS:GO deleting threads related to VAC bans is a massive disservice to the community. So what was is it the ones related to the Carnice?
No, it wasn't due to Carnice. I mean, Carnice was an ESL ban, not a
Oh,
VAC
right,
ban.
right, that's
But
right.
there was a thread about, some players participating in King of Nordique who potentially had a checkered past, and by the rules of the subreddit, those threads get deleted pretty much without questions asked, which is troubling. Like I don't know, like if what if that had happened with the whole QZ thing? I'm not saying maybe that would have been better if it had, but that's not really fair.
Oh, but back when QZ was banned, you could have done that. It's the mods only became huge cucks about the cheating thing in like late 2015, I think. So back then you could have said anything. CS:GO Reddit back then was a wild place.
I don't know. I find it very problematic. You know, I find censorship in general problematic, but we can talk about that in a special episode.
Yeah. Stitch and Joe talk politics. All right, so I'm throwing up the screen again.
Trigger everyone.
If you guys remember from maybe episode 6 or episode 5, we had a. So I'm showing them Urcast's tweet, if you can guess it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So remember
party
the
one?
Yeah. So remember the party one from that other tournament in
Yes.
Asia? Yeah,
Yes.
the one with the bottle in Korea, right? The Asia Minor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the next. This is the successor to that. I guess 4 beers, ni hao, which ni hao of course means hello in Chinese. But people all the time ask me if I'm Chinese when I go up to them and tell them my name's ni hao. I'm serious. They do. It's an icebreaker too. I'm like, it's not Chinese.
That's pathetic.
I guess Urcast is getting turned off of 4 beers. The last time I got turned off of 4 beers,
Yesterday.
No, I don't get turned off 4 beers. I become congenial off 4 beers. All right, so let's move on from Joe's beautiful Twitter account. Let's see if Shady Spooky is in the correct place. Yes, it is. So, the carrot, the fucking carrot. Can you guys guess who I'm talking about? I am, of course, talking about REASTEN, the Norwegian play. So what happened there? It's pretty Shady Spooky, I guess.
I have no fucking clue. We've just gotten reports trickling in from our intrepid Spanish photographer saying that one of these guys are out, another one of these guys are out. All RIP without org. So I don't know what happened, but in all,
can you give
not
a
terribly
rundown
surprising.
Can you give a rundown again for someone who might not know what we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, like within like either last week or 2 weeks ago, we had the reports of international sub top team forming.
REASTEN, Huds G, not in one Deagle, my favorite 12-year-old.
Yeah. OW
and Torpe.
And Torpe. Yeah, so you got the Norwegian, the Brit, 2 Danes, and the Spaniard in there. And not surprisingly, they have gone nowhere with playing no meaningful matches to my knowledge. So
yeah, so it is to our knowledge that REASTEN will continue wondering what life is all about up in Norway. So anyways, the next one is a lot more Shady Spooky, but I guess I threw that one in because whenever these international European orgs fall, I find it pretty spooky. So basically, Carnice, Danish player, ESL banned for cheating. Also, adding as a little addendum to this topic, there were suggestions that Smuya was cheating, or Richard Lewis had like a heated exchange with him on Twitter. Well, let's talk about Carnice first, and then we can clear that up.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Carnice, kind of like another upcoming Danish player, playing for Singularity, which is a team that originally featured Valde as well, before he moved on to, greener upper echelons of the Danish scene very quickly. Carnice would have been one of these other up-and-coming players, most likely. he got banned in ESL for cheating. Now he and Singularity the org have said that this is because he is apparently like largely deaf in at least one of his ears, if not both of his ears, and he had some manual timer overlay that he would use to try to keep track of how long of the bomb timer, so bomb would go down and he would manually click, mouse 5 or 6 or whatever to try to do that, and that is his argument as saying that's what, got picked up. If people don't remember, this is the same team that ran into issues with alternate attacks in, I forget what the qualifier was, but alternate attacks requested demos of this team, and they were missing, a round or two, and got disqualified. It was a whole big thing, yada, 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 yada. So that's going to feed a bunch of flames to this fire. The real issue for me is this is a team that was in the semifinals of the ESL major ladder, so in line for a premier spot next season, and there still has been no communication from ESL about whether they've done any further investigation into the ban, whether it's justified or whatever, whether it was manual, whether it wasn't. So that's problematic for me, but as it stands, Carniz has a 2-year ESL ban. The team has been disqualified from the ESL major ladder. He is now banned from Dust2.dk events. And
wow.
Yeah, I know. Oof. And, presumably all ESL and ESCA events as well, I would assume. So
I'm pouring out for my homie Carnice, but yeah, I mean, until they can really provide proof that, his bomb timer wasn't also helping him automatically have, 5% better aim, better bullet, RNG spread, then,
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty... I think regardless of whatever physical disabilities he might have, I think it's still a pretty indefensible position that he's coming from, even if what they're saying is 100% true. I don't really think you can be relying on something outside the game and not notify people about it. You know what I mean? It's the same situation where, you have people who have medical excuses for Adderall and stuff like that, where if you go through the proper channels and get cleared for it, then it's okay for whatever reason. But if you don't, then it's not. So it seems the same way. So I think this band's probably going to stand regardless. But
the whole CS on Adderall thing is so dumb. I've played CS on Adderall all the time. It does not make you play better. It just you get tired. You don't get tired, so you can play more. That's it. Maybe that's an advantage if you go to a poorly run ESL event. Sure, 8 hours later they're like, it's time to play the grand final. Yeah, it's not a big deal. So yeah.
Speaking of which, did you see the flying DJ out there subtweeting ECS super hard? That's the first thing I saw this morning.
I've seen a few people subtweeting ECS. There definitely seems to be a few people who would love to see them crash and burn, but I did not see that one.
The first thing that I saw this morning, he was like, per recommendations from fans and players, we will be shortening the length of our tournament days. There will not be 4 BO3s played on one day. Ooh. This is not at all a shot at the tournament that is happening right now, this weekend, in California. Run by Face It.
Yeah, people were subtweeting, I forget who, after, DJ retweeted the Observer.
Oh, Sliggy, my boy.
He retweeted him, and then someone who works at ESEA or ESL was subtweeting ECS in the reply to his retweet or something like that.
Yeah, it could have been DJ as well, Flying DJ, not DJ Prius Kuntz.
Yeah, no, not that one. So yeah, and quickly, what's with the Smuya thing? I actually don't know. I just saw his heated exchange with Richard Lewis.
I actually haven't seen this exchange with Richard, I know there was a UK CS:GO article, which was
It's related to that.
Yeah, I assume so. Which was tying some, potential connections between old accounts that might belong to Smooya that are, I believe, SIVO banned, and the same deal with another insignificant UK player, as most of them are. But yeah, that's all I really know. I don't know what.
Yeah. So SIVO once again doing work for the community, getting no credit.
Well, can you fill me in on the Richard situation?
I think it was something like that. Richard Lewis said something about the article, and Smooya was like, blah blah blah. There's no proof or something. Smooya was, I don't remember, because it just, I skim Twitter and I see things like this. I go in one ear out the other. Smooya was doing a teenager thing though. Just sending him like emojis like colon lower than sign. When you don't really have anything smart to say. Yeah. Let's take a look, actually.
Well, I just enjoy the meme of Smooya being the CIS's great white hope stand-in, Yeah. If he could stand in for Team Spirit, they'd probably make it to the major. That's all I'm saying.
So, actually, speaking of CIS, I saw on your Twitter and then I forgot about it, but is World Edit, he's not signed up with Flipside for something?
That's completely insignificant. That's another thing we could talk about is, well, you actually mentioned this before, is how Reddit just notices things that are completely insignificant. So Reddit noticed that, which was a complete random anecdote that I pointed out. They completely don't care about the fact that Team Spirit is going with, 4 out of 5 players. So
got it. Okay, now I know. All right, cool. So yeah, I guess Carnice caught in a bit of a spooky situation, of which it is very hard to get out of unless you're simple. So recent tournaments, we this should be fast because we already did a lot of justice to both WCA and ECS. So WCA, we talked about, Epsilon blew VG out of the water 3 on the grand final. We talked about Tyloo. We talked about iGame. We talked about the Brazilian teams and Immunity and JYP. So the only other thing is just Born of Fire and EDG remain in the the shit list in China. Yep. So there's that. ECS, which I mean, this is already a long Stitch theme, but I did not watch much of. I watched some games. I did last night, but a lot to do on the weekends, man. I gotta buy myself a BMW. Had to go test drive cars all Saturday. So Astralis just won hot off the press. They got revenge on Optic for E-League Season 2.
Yep. Although they win like half as much money. So.
Bummer. And, they win half as much money from a company that is not as professional as E-League, and that is also much more opaque. Although I wouldn't say that some E-League employees haven't had slip-ups as well. But yeah. So
like a certain Casey Foster, perhaps.
No, that went over my head.
Of the I Power Throw fame? No.
What is this? Wait, I'm confused.
You don't remember? Casey Foster, ex-Source player, was all the other co-owner of Netcode Guides, along with Days.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah. He works for WME IMG, I believe, these days.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
I knew that name sounded familiar, but hey, stop! What are you doing?
Sorry.
That's quite audible.
I was fondling my my Indian rupee that I just got.
Oh, nice.
My roommate brought back for me. Yeah, this is $1.
I thought you were just quickly ordering as much cyanide as you could because you just exposed the Iba Power scandal again. You're like, I gotta fucking kill myself right now. So for the rest of ECS Season 2, we talked about SK. Envious. Impressive run here. And then, of course...
Until they got bodied by Optic.
Yeah. But
that is...
Yeah, until then. But that just attests to how Optic are on their way to being a top 5 team. One more finish like this, and it's assured. If not already.
Yeah, I mean, as you pointed out today, my Twitter mentions...
Right now.
My Twitter mentions blew up today. And a lot of people were arguing in my mentions over whether Northern Arena counts as like a top premier international event, because if that was the case, that would be 3 events in a row that Optic had made the grand finals. Even discounting that, it's 2 events in a row, which is still pretty much groundbreaking for North American Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought they were ranked number 8 for some reason. They're ranked number 6. They're virtually guaranteed to be ranked in the top 5 tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely. Because of Dignitas being in number 5.
Yep.
The number 5 spot. Yeah.
They'll probably fall out of that a little bit, but and I mean, I think well deserved from Optic.
Yeah. There's only a 20-point difference too, so yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I think it may be fleeting based on what we've seen from, the last 6 months of North American Counter-Strike, but I'm sure people will be excited about it nonetheless.
The Optic subreddit is super excited about it. I like going there, actually. Whenever they win big best of 3s, I like reading the match threads. They're so positive. How many subreddits do you find these days that are big? Because the small ones are always pretty positive. That stay that positive. I don't know.
Well, it's hashtag positive vibes only, bro.
Hashtag briskmate, hashtag the wall, hashtag Call of Duty, hashtag Doritos, hashtag middle class.
Hashtag plur.
Yeah. So FaZe, again, unfortunate. They came up against Optic. It could have been their tournament. Again, we keep saying this, but they have to go home in 5th through 6th. I really do think they still will win a tournament in the near future. Unfortunately, what's next? The major. But they're playing the major qualifier, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, sometimes Immortals ground into the ground into the ground. But yeah, not their tournament. And finally, I'm so happy that your favorite team, Cloud9, down in the 7th through 8th spot in this 8-team tournament.
Oh, my other favorite team, Optic, 2nd, so you can fuck off.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Cloud9 again also had an unfortunate situation where they had to play Optic after losing to FaZe. Yeah. So,
yeah.
That's 8-team tournaments are like that, though.
Yeah, I mean, C9 and Immortals both in the same, both had the same fate where they were forced to play a regional domestic rival in their losers match. I think the flip side would be that C9 would have been traditionally favored in their match, which they lost, and SK would have been traditionally favored in their match, which they won. However, I did say that I think if Immortals don't have to play SK in their group, then they make it out. I think if they play other teams and losers and deciders, then they make it out of the group. I think it was always going to be a difficult thing for them to beat SK, who are the guys that they basically,
look up to,
idolize, learned how to be professional from, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas in North America, that's not the case because everyone hates everyone.
Yep, and everyone's this fucking whiny little twat with an attitude complex. I mean, obviously not everyone, but it's a generalization that even if not many people actually are that way, they will display facets of that when under pressure or in bad situations. And that's something to do with the American entitlement / individualistic complex. We can also talk about that on the political show. I'm Stich, your Polish host. Kurwa mać. So you want to end the show on a great note?
Yep.
Well, we're going to do the CS Code section, but let's just end recent tournaments on a great note. Let's talk about a few shitter tournaments, shall we? First of all, ESL Premiership in India. We are told by sources that it was a mess, that there were just a bunch of pug teams.
Per sources,
yeah. And did Risky win, or did the team that played Risky win?
Risky won. They made a gutsy lower bracket push. I believe they got knocked down there in the upper bracket semis, and they ran through the lower bracket without dropping a map, I believe.
So congrats to Risky for cementing their status. Hilariously enough, they go to an Indian tournament without their Indian player.
It is ironic, and without even one of their Arab Emirates players. They had a stand-in as well. So they not only had their new addition, who I guess was their coach previously, and they played with greens instead of Kit Kat, I think. So, yeah.
Yep. So, all right, a few more things happened. First of all, there's a Latvian LAN Interland Volume 6 won by Skin Lords, and that's not talking about circumcised people. So yeah, if you ever were interested in what all those cheaters in Latvia are doing, that happened. Then we have a LAN going on. I don't think Grand Final is played yet, but there's Adria Masters by PvP Pro Finals, $1,600 because that's...
No, that finished up. Outlaws won, the Bulgarians.
Oh, they did? Okay. I was going to say $1,600 because you certainly won't see more money than that in a tournament in Southeastern Europe.
Well, I mean, they just burn the checks that they win there anyway, so
Yeah.
who cares?
That underrated meme, certainly. That video will forever. I'll always remember that video. Shot on like a 144p, you know, like Nokia, like, oh, davai.
Bye-bye!
Yeah.
But speaking of Latvia, also exciting news, Independent, long known as the Latvian VAC band player, recently unbanned by Valve 2 years later.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
How recently? Like a few days ago?
Yeah, like literally 3 or 4 days ago.
Oh shit! Why wasn't that on anywhere?
It was on Wikipedia.
Okay.
You're welcome.
I thought that would have been on Reddit because, you know, people there worship everything that Valve do. They would have just heard a whiff of Valve doing work.
Look, man, I retweeted it a couple times. I put it on Wikipedia. I verified it. I don't know what more you want from me, dude.
I unfortunately didn't notice. I probably would have retweeted it. In Uruguay, we had a tournament called Game Smash Uruguay. The team excuse me. What is it? Heavy what? Heavy Stompers. Okay, I didn't see it. Heavy Stompers won. Certainly none of these players have HLTV pictures, that's for sure. But, I mean, good to see these local tournaments happening. I have a great Uruguayan friend.
Good to see yet another fucking Nico. You know, we didn't have enough.
Wait a second. Let's see.
Fuck this guy.
Oh my god, there is another Nico.
He didn't even have the decency to go 1+ rating.
Dude, that is crazy. There's another Nico out there on the run.
This guy.
All right, I didn't mention actually that Vexed won the ESL. We talked about Vexed in the Europe section. They won the ESL National Championship France winner. So yeah, we didn't mention that, but kind of fitting. $10,000.
Yeah, they beat Devil's Project and Queens Consolidated. So, you know, once again, R.I.P. Devil.
And one more, which isn't a recent tournament that happened, but it's happening right now, or in 5 minutes. The Breakan Latin American North League, which is online, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's not LAN, but it's grand finals happening. I just wanted to point out this team. One team's Colombia, and you know, it has all the Colombian players, including Sickly, who will be playing with the Miami Flamingos. But it has all the Colombian players that we all saw.
This is my Flamingo.
I bet you're going to be a big fan of that team for some reason. But
I'm a huge fan of Tier 5 teams. Although I'm not a huge fan of people trying to post to Reddit news about teams that was known 3 weeks ago. I roasted a guy today about that. So.
I think I saw that. Well, anyways, the other team, Jaguar, this is one of the most interesting lineups I've seen in a while. It has a Guatemalan player, has a Dominican player from the Dominican Republic, right? Is Nude from the Dominican Republic? That looks like a Dominican flag.
I think so.
Scar X is Venezuelan. That country still is able to afford electricity. I don't know if you saw what happened to their currency, but it was like super overinflated. A Peruvian player and an Ecuadorian. So that is quite a Pan-American mix right there. Check that game out. Well, obviously when this goes out, it'll have finished. But if you want to check it out, let me just show it so you can find it on HLTV. If you ever wanted to look at weird teams, there you have it.
I recognize this Vadi guy. He's played in some lineups with Widow and like Warmaker and some of those dudes.
I recognize his name too.
Yeah. Oh no, Widow is now in the lineup apparently. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. So
I am good at my job.
Hey, you're better at it than me when it comes to these tier 5 people. So I don't know if that's a thing to be proud of, but there you have it. Finally, CS Code. What do you think? Huh? Hello, Joe? Wait, where are you? Wait, oh my God, you sound like you're in a fishbowl.
So, I don't know where you are.
So HTRF, did you try out the new sound?
Yeah, well, now that I have my new PC, I've actually been playing a lot more CS than I have previously in like the last 6 months combined.
Add me on Steam, bro.
You and me, bitch.
All right.
So I have not experienced the nuke changes. I have experienced the sound changes. I don't know. I can't. It's hard for me to say whether I noticed that they're better or not because I played like literally one game with the old sounds, in the last 6 months, and then these changes came out. So it's hard for me to say. I don't despise them, but again, it will always come back to me in comparison to the Dota update that came out today. It's not very fucking hard to get sounds properly. Like every fucking game in the world has
Yep.
has sounds that function properly. So excuse me if I'm not ready to, fillet the one random dude at Valve that, did this update by himself for making it happen.
Just how annoying is this liberal ass company, Valve? Like, why can't they just fucking fire all the people who work on CSGO? You would get fired at any job for this kind of quality control.
The problem is because there's no fucking people that work on CS:GO. That's the fucking problem.
Yeah, I know
of
there
the
is.
company. There are no people that work on CS:GO. There are people that work on Dota and
Virtual reality.
And sometimes think, oh hey, maybe I'll fuck around with CS:GO for like a week. Let's see, what's the most immediately obviously fucked up thing about this game? Oh, let me just fix it. That was easy. If you had a fucking dedicated team of 2 fucking people, they could make this game great in no time.
Dude, unless your company, unless you have to deal with unions, which thankfully not many people do anymore, at least in the U.S. God bless. Yeah, you would fire such incompetent, lazy fuck-ups as Valve have been over these years with all their mistakes, all their poor communication, their poor quality control, whatever. I started out by just kind of criticizing them. Now I'm just insulting them. I'm like, if I see you at a bar, I will fucking kick you in the face because that's what you deserve.
Most of them probably don't drink, though. It's probably like alcohol cruelty or something.
Yeah, it's cruel to the alcohol. It's cruel to the ethanol. Like, you can't consume it. Yeah, but because my schedule these days is like work the whole week, go to bed early, and then weekends just play like 7 hours of Counter-Strike on Friday and Saturday. I got a lot of experience with it. I don't like HTRF right now because of the quality. It makes my head kind of hurt, or like I feel like high kind of pressure. So someone should look into that. I mean, maybe Valve.
It's very bassy, I think, is what I noticed, and I saw that Sapphire was having the same issue as well. I noticed it as well, but not to as much of a degree. Definitely was more of a pounding, pulsing sort of a thing.
Yeah, and it just sounds like a low bit rate or something. I don't know, but I will say the actual directional aspects are good. So actually, it made me scarily able to pinpoint people to a degree I'm not able to on the current system. But yes, I did turn it off and went to normal headphones mode just because of the quality. If they do fix that, though, I'll definitely switch over. I also played a CEVO on Nuke. Unfortunately, the other team quit after 4 rounds. They surrendered, so we won 16-0. They're like, oh my god, why the hell would you queue CEVO with your friends? But yeah, I did run around the map, and the missing bollards outside are good. All the changes on Nuke are good. I don't know who they bribed to give them good feedback, but whoever it was, thank you, sir. Or madam.
They don't have to bribe people to give them good feedback. They have to bribe themselves to accept good feedback. There's no shortage of people offering good feedback. There's a shortage of fucking people with positive IQs at Valve that will take the feedback.
True that.
But, maybe that's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, You're the software developer. Like maybe secretly you just have a hate complex because it's like your one dream to work there, and they refuse to hire you.
I don't think I want to work there, dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to work there either. Not that I do anything in software. All right, so that wraps that up. Speaking of software, I just Tinder matched a day ago with a girl who works at the same software company as the girl I was seeing before. So I had a great opening line, and she was like, "There's only 5 people at my company who are girls. Who could it be?" But yeah, so I'll keep you guys.
If your opening line wasn't threesome, you're fucking up.
No, but it's a good opening line because usually it's like what you have to do something corny. But coming up, we have EL Major Qualifier, the One China Cup, Knowing Life, another Chinese tournament will show up out of nowhere with like minimal announcement,
minimal fanfare.
Yeah, no one knows when WESG finals are happening for their millions of dollars.
January.
Okay, January. Yep. So yeah, is there anything you want to add? I'm donezo. It's time for me to go to bed.
Oh, you know what? I think I just put this together. I think WSG will probably be happening like the weekend of January 7th because I saw Arch again, our boy Arch, tweeting at Nixon asking about moving
I saw that too.
The DreamHack qualifiers. So that would be my guess for when WSG will be happening, like literally like the first weekend in 2017. The only thing I want to add is that this was pointed out to me by one of my homies in Wikipedia staff chat, was that Epsilon has earned 2/5 of their lifetime winnings in Counter-Strike within the last year in China. So
dude, they're just China bashers. They
should
crazy.
just fucking go live in China is what I'm saying. You know, let Draken let off some of that anger at Cadian and just like fucking take it out on the Chinese.
Or they could they could go live with their buddy. Who's coaching the Chinese team?
Oh, DSN.
Yeah, DSN. They could go live with DSN.
Yeah, I'm sure DSN has been showing them around.
Or maybe he's just being worked like a rat, like, don't draw. Like they're just beating him, and he's like, please. Yeah, so yeah, guys, thanks for watching. And I should add congrats to Astralis. They struggled for a long time, but there's their win. They got it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be back.